Go. When going becomes your modus operandi, life gets crazy good. Conclusion. Let's review Jesus' last command. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Matthew 28:19 through 20. The two primary commands in this statement, known as the Great Commission, is to go and make disciples. The two secondary commands, which describe how to make disciples, are baptizing them and teaching them. The purpose of this book is to clarify that to go is a command of Jesus. While obedience to this command may result in a crazy good life, the reason we go is because Jesus told us to. It isn't for personal gain, but for His glory. I was talking to a pastor a few years ago about getting some teams in his church to go out sharing the gospel in our community. His response surprised me. He said that his people don't want to go out witnessing, but feel more comfortable inviting people to come to church. The problem with this is that inviting is not the same as going. Inviting people to church is fine, but it shouldn't be considered as an option in obeying Jesus' command to go. It comes back to a little deliberate discomfort. Now isn't the time for relaxing in your recliner day after day after day. In Luke 19, verse 13, Jesus shares a story where a nobleman gives the equivalent of 1,000 days of wages to 3 servants of his and says, quote, "Do business until I come back," end quote. The one who did nothing was judged severely, while the 2 who did business were told, "Well done, good servants." Instead of Jesus giving each of his disciples money before he left, he gave them a commission. How we obey the Great Commission will determine what we hear when we meet him face to face. I want to hear, "Well done." And I'm sure you do too. So let's go and make disciples. While the positive reasons for going, like a crazy good life, are many, there are also negative results of not going. John Piper shares in his book, Don't Waste Your Life, quote, "I will tell you what a tragedy is. I will show you how to waste your life. Consider this story from the February 1998 Reader's Digest. A couple took early retirement from their jobs in the Northeast 5 years ago when he was 59 and she was 51. Now they live in Punta Gorda, Florida, where they cruise on their 30-foot trawler, play softball, and collect shells. Picture them before Christ at the great day of judgment. Look, Lord, see my shells? That is a tragedy. Cruising in a trawler, playing softball, and collecting shells sounds like the epitome of a comfortable life. But I recently read a quote that, after thinking about it for a while, I realize has been true in my life. It is, quote, "Comfort is the enemy of growth," end quote, by P.T. Barnum. Shortly after seeing the quote, a book came to my attention entitled Deliberate Discomfort by Jason B.A. Van Camp. I read it and then decided to enroll in their 60-day Deliberate Discomfort Challenge. It was challenging physically, emotionally, mentally, and in other ways. but it was also a significant time of growth in my personal life. In the context of personal growth or improvement, Mr. Van Camp made this statement, quote, "When faced with two options, choose the hardest of the two," end quote. This flies in the face of the status quo, which would nearly always choose the less difficult or more comfortable. But comfortable, compliant, cautious people don't change the world. The choice of going will always be more difficult and uncomfortable in relation to staying. But Jesus hasn't called us to take the easy road. He's called us to go, and then promised that He will be with us always. I'm not asking people to enroll in a 60-day challenge, but to a challenging lifestyle of going. Staying in a place of comfort is much easier than going. You will be physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually stretched when you go. But when you make the going your modus operandi, while it will be challenging, it will also bring a sense of purpose to the daily grind. So, find an opportunity to go. Put it down in your calendar. Start raising the necessary funds, and let's get this party started. When going becomes your modus operandi, life gets crazy good.